to talk to someone who won't listen. There was a time in my life when I went months without speaking to someone who mattered deeply to me. Not because I didn't want to talk to them, not because I didn't care, but because every attempt to connect seemed to land in the exact same place, misunderstood, shut down, or not received at all. It was painful. There's a particular kind of ache that comes from wanting to be heard by someone who just isn't able to hear you. You replay conversations in your mind. You think about what you could say differently. You wonder if you should try again, or if trying again will only make it worse. And somewhere in all of that, you start to feel more alone. If you found yourself asking, why do I keep trying, or sitting with the pain of feeling misunderstood by someone close to you, you're not alone in that either. I wrote more about that experience here at Why Do I Keep Trying? The Pain of Feeling Misunderstood by Family. What I came to understand slowly is this: you can't make someone listen. They have to be ready. When someone isn't ready to hear you, that realization can be hard to accept. Because if you care about the relationship, it's natural to want to fix it, to repair it, to find the right words, to say it in a way that finally lands. But listening isn't something we can force in another person. It requires openness, and sometimes for reasons we may not fully understand, the other person isn't there yet. They may be hurt, defensive, overwhelmed, certain of their own perspective, or simply not in a place where they can take in anything different. And no matter how carefully you choose your words, they still don't feel heard. What you can do: even though you can't make someone else listen, there are ways you can shift the conversation when the opportunity does come. One of the most powerful is this: make sure they feel understood first, not just their words, but their feelings. This is what true active listening looks like. It's not about waiting for your turn to speak. It's not about preparing your response while they're talking. It's reflecting back what you're hearing in a way that lets them know, I get it. I see you. That doesn't necessarily mean you agree. It means you understand. And when someone feels understood, even a little, something softens. Why feeling understood matters so much? When people don't feel heard, they tend to repeat themselves, sometimes louder, sometimes sharper, not because they want to argue, but because they're trying to land. If we respond to that by defending, correcting, or explaining, it can unintentionally deepen the divide. But when we pause long enough to reflect what we're hearing, we interrupt that cycle. We create a moment where the other person can settle, and from that place, listening becomes more possible for both people. When it still doesn't work. There are times when you do all of this, and it still doesn't change the conversation. That can be one of the hardest parts, because it brings you back to what you can't control. You can't make someone else ready. You can't make someone open. You can't make someone listen. And sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do for both of you is to give it space, not as punishment, but as acknowledgement of things where things are right now. Holding space without losing yourself. That season of not speaking was painful, but it also taught me something important. I didn't have to keep pushing in order to prove I cared. I didn't have to keep trying to find the perfect words. I could step back, hold care for the relationship, and trust that if and when the other person was ready, the conversation could happen then. And when it did, I would meet them with presence, not pressure. When you need to be heard. If you're in a place where you're not being heard, whether in one relationship or many, it can build up over time. That's where having a space to talk freely can make a difference. At Hold, we offer confidential listening appointments with a trained, compassionate professional. No advice, no judgment, just a space to say what's on your mind and feel understood. Sometimes being heard somewhere else helps you return to the conversations that matter to you with a little more steadiness. Book a confidential session here at hearingoutlivedrama.com/book-online.